All right, there we go. Okay, good evening, everybody. I just got finished our week 1 session tonight, and I wasn't able to record it for some reason. I'll get with tech support and figure out why I wasn't able to record it, like I was able to record last week's. But I'll still at least send you all the PowerPoint, so that those without the book you can go through the PowerPoint slides and still get caught up on what the week 1 discussion was about, and it was very insightful. There were 2 topics that we discussed, and you'll see that in the slides. The first topic was surrendering our desires to always have God's best. And we talked about Abram and his nephew Lot. How, Abram, he loved his nephew so much he did not want to see both tribes end up in war. So he just said, hey, look, we're getting overcrowded. Why don't you pick which land that you wanted? It was more appropriate for Lot to go ahead and let his uncle or defer to his uncle, but he didn't. So, surrendering our desires to always have God's best. Had he just sought the Lord, perhaps things would have happened a little differently. And then the other thing we talked about was hidden greed. We talked about Balaam and how the Moabite king wanted him to curse the children of Israel. And Balaam, a prophet of God, he sought the Lord, and the Lord said no, of course. And so then Balaam said no. But then the Moabite king sent even more money and said, we need you to do this for us. And then Balaam, a prophet of God, is sitting there and he's like, I'll take the payment. I won't curse God's people. I'll take the payment and do what you want to do. But that showed the intent. His intent was still greed. I still want this high payday. I still want this, incentive for things that you want me to do. But I'm still going to try to still recognize what God wants me to do in all of this. No, can't cut it like that. Your heart has already shown us where your true treasure is, and that was not to obey God, but to go ahead and get this fat paycheck for yourself. So that's not going to work. And so then that leads me to 1 Timothy 6:9-10, one of the last scriptures that we went over, and I want to go ahead and just reiterate that for a second. It was supposed to be here. Okay, here we go. So, for the love of money is the root of all evil, which while some coveted after, they have erred from the faith, and pierced themselves through with many sorrows. And one of the examples that I gave was, if you look at the whole Enron thing that happened like years ago, 2002, I think is when it first started, and WorldCom and the whole Arthur Anderson and all that stuff. A lot of that stuff occurred due to greed. And if we see here in the word where it tells us they have erred from the faith and pierced themselves through with many sorrows. And I recalled as I was talking about this in tonight's class that more cases of suicide linked to all of that scandal that occurred, it was actually the corporate executives involved in the scandal. A lot of people that lost their life savings and everything that they had worked for, you heard very little about them having committed suicide. But you heard about these corporate execs blowing their brains out in the parking lot of their multi-million-dollar mansions, or in the cars of their 6-figure vehicles, blowing their brains out. And what did Paul say here? Which while some coveted after, they have erred from the faith and pierced themselves through with many sorrows. That really shook me to come to that realization. So what I want to come on here tonight is to go ahead and give you an update, let you know that there will be a PowerPoint prepared, but it won't be the actual replay of the course. My apologies. I'll work on getting that together. But this next week is a very important week because there is going to be a home assignment for every day of the week until we meet again. So that this is the meat and potatoes, y'all. This is what we've all been waiting for. We've been looking for some activity. We've been looking for something to actually rehearse on a day-by-day basis to keep our spending and our finances in check. And that's what we need sometimes. We need activity. So what I'm going to be making available to you via email is going to have to be tomorrow, y'all, because it's getting late. But we're going to do a personal financial statement. We're going to have you complete a personal financial statement. We're also going to have you complete, everyone in the course, a quit claim deed. Now, this is more symbolic. This is an outward sort of exercise for some internal work that should already have occurred. And basically, what this quit claim deed is, it's declaring everything I have possession over first belongs to God. And if we have that mindset that everything that we have possession over first belongs to God, then that will kind of calibrate, or in the case of this course, recalibrate the way we view our resources and the way we view the accumulation of resources. So that will stop us in our tracks right there, or at least help us make better decisions. Oh man, I wish today's course was recorded because we went over some real good stuff as it related to that. But anyway, the next thing that I'd like for you to do, if you haven't already, do the Money Life Indicator. You know what a FICO score is. That gives us an indicator to our credit worthiness. Well, this Money Life Indicator is a measure of where we stand with our finances according to God's plan for us. So it's important to do that Money Life Indicator so we can see where we are today. And then as we start growing, we're going to grow in grace. As we start growing, then maybe when we do the Money Life Indicator by the end of the course, it will be different. It will be progress shown in our indicator. The other thing I'd like for everybody, this was your home assignment from last week, to get a little book. This is one that my sister had gotten me for Christmas. She know I like little stuff like this. But what we're going to do, we're going to record our expenses on a daily basis. And it might seem laborious, but good. Because we need to go ahead and find out how much spending we're doing. I remember the first time I saw somebody do something like this. I was a cashier at CVS Pharmacy. I was 17 years old. And there was this lady, she was Asian. I don't know where from Asia, but I know she was an Asian lady. And she had like a little pocket composition book. She didn't speak any English. But I know that after I rang her up, and she had a lot of people with her, and she wanted to know each transaction because she had paid for all of that stuff. And I'm like, you got your receipt. But that receipt, those little pieces of paper get lost. This little binder you see right here, everything is right here. And she looked and she was like, okay, how much was her stuff? And she wrote it all down. And I could see that as she had turned the pages, she had different color ink because that book was alive and active. And it was clearly something that she had been using. And you know Asians are smart anyway, so I remember thinking, it must be something to that. Because here this woman is Asian, and she's sitting there writing down all of her transactions, knowing that she got this receipt. But now that I'm doing this little this financial life class with y'all, I'm going to go ahead and do it. You know, I'm going to cast away all of my pride, everything that I know about budgeting and all that, and I'm going to take this journey with y'all because there must be some wisdom in it. And so just the exercise of writing down everything you do, I know what it's going to do for me already. I'm going to get tired of writing down stuff, number one. And so then I'm just going to stop spending. So that's what's going to happen for me. So see what it brings out of you. Maybe for you, it's just going to be another layer of information so that you can really be convicted and look. And that whole page is black. And if you'd have made it to page 3, but, you know, just go ahead and first we're going to do that budget. You're going to do a personal financial statement. Then we're going to do a budget. If stuff is in this book that's not in that budget, I don't have to tell you what that means. Maybe I do. That's not good. So don't do that. Only spend what your budget says to spend. Okay? The other thing, so I sent y'all a link to the Crown Money Map. So what we're going to do, we're going to find out where we are on this map and see how we progress. So there's 7 stops on this map. This is how the map looks. So stop 1. And so what you have to do, your homework for next week, is to find out where you are on this map. We may have people at different levels. So the first one is build emergency savings. Track spending and create your spending plan. Okay. Save $1,000 for emergencies and start giving regularly to the Lord. So I'm at least there. Okay. The next one is 2. Pay off credit card. Okay. Well, I'm not there, y'all. It says pay off credit card debt. That's stop number 2. So that's something for me to work toward. Pay off credit cards. Use the snowball calculator, which I will make available to you all when it's appropriate for our home assignments. Increase savings to 1 month's living expenses. Increase giving to the Lord through your time, talents, and money. Look for creative ways to increase your income. Now, notice, they didn't make any assumptions. They just say increase giving to the Lord through your time, talent, and money. Some people will push the whole thing about tithing, which I honor, and I think it pleases God to do that. But I also know, after doing accounting for so long, that some people need to grow to that level. So you can't just up and go tithing tomorrow night, knowing that your budget does not have that embedded in it just yet. So some people, we need to actually create a plan for tithing if that is a conviction that God has given you. Don't feel bad if you're not there yet. Just create a plan to get there. Pay off any other consumer debt. That would be number 3. Invest wisely. Oh, no, that's number 6. Number 3, pay off any other consumer debt. Number 4, adjust your plan. Okay, adjust your spending plan accordingly. Start saving for major purchases. Start saving for retirement. Increase savings to 6 months living expenses. Okay, so I'm seeing what's happening now. This map, even though there are 7 stops, this could take months to get through all of this. I know it could take some of us months to accumulate 6 months of living expenses, maybe even a year. I know when I was saving for my house, that took me 18 months. So, don't think that this has to be done within weeks. This is something you can put on your wall in your study at home. You can print it out because this is what came with the book. But you can print this out. There's a printable version of this that I emailed last week. And put this wherever you spend the most time thinking and contemplating. If it's at the desk at work, wherever you are going to be looking at this, look at it. Okay? Because this is real. This is good. Then the last stop. I'm just going to jump to the last stop. Evaluate your kingdom impact for the next generation. This really leave a legacy is where we should end in all of this. And wow, this is really exciting. I like a system where I can check off my progress. I like that. I think this was really good for them to come up with it. Okay, y'all. How you? Lord Jesus. Okay, so that's that. Okay, so that's going to be that, and then I think what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna make copies of the homework going forward for those who don't have a book, and I'm going to test it out. I'm gonna make these copies probably for the next 3 weeks. If nobody's doing their homework, then I'm gonna stop making copies. I'm gonna just tell you that. But this is real good. There's something for every day in here. There's something for day 1, and then there's a practical application for it. I love that. I love to be able to count and measure progress. Wow. Okay, so this is gonna be good, y'all. So so I just wanted to go ahead and do this video, let you know what's coming in the next week, what's going to be coming down the pike, and all that good stuff. Do take this seriously. I'm putting a lot of my time into this, a lot of my energy, a lot of my effort. I want to see results. I was burdened with just the condition of a lot of people of color not having a grasp of finances. And there's often the excuse that I didn't know, nobody told me, especially with, you know how I feel about this whole tax bill that's coming along. This system is going to help us get prepared for that. So that at the end of the year, I shouldn't have anybody in my network talking about I didn't know, or crying because their results didn't come out right, or it didn't come out favorably, or it came out a little different in the opposite direction than they were expecting. Nobody in my network will be able to say that, because Micah is still at work at 8:41 making sure that his network and the people in that network have what they need to be financially secure and to be good stewards. So it is definitely a labor of love. I'm loving doing it. I'm enjoying it. I'm growing in the process, and I pray that you are as well. Be blessed, everybody.